What's going on, everyone? Mitchell here from the Main Stand Podcast, Season 2, Episode 35. We've got a very special guest today. Our resident Arsenal fan, Justin, is with us. We've got Pat, we've got Josh, the usual crew, to dissect this week's absolutely delicious menu of games. Boys, welcome in. How we feeling?
Ever better.
I'm sad.
Clearly.
We are recording 40 minutes maybe after Arsenal City, the penultimate game of the season, where City won 4-1. Before I air some things out, get some stuff off my chest, just reading Twitter and whatnot from some fans that are confident for no goddamn reason. No offense, Justin. I do want to say, I think Arsenal have had an unbelievable season. I think they have a great team. I think there's a lot of good that is going to come out of this side, as I've been saying over the next couple of years. I think it's a phenomenal group. I think Arteta's doing something very correct over at the Emirates, and I think we're going to see them at the top for years to come. That being said, take Thomas Partey out of debates with Rodri from now until the end of time. I never want to see someone even mention Odegaard in the same breath as De Bruyne ever again. Martinelli and Saka are having unbelievable years, so they get a pass. Xhaka, nowhere near anybody in the Man City midfield. And last but certainly not least, yes, Mikel Arteta is having a great year. But he is the student, and that's exactly what showed tonight. He's the student. Guardiola is the master, and there's a reason he is more likely than not about to win his third Premier League title on the bounce, and his 6 and 7 years with City. Unbelievable performance. De Bruyne is showing why he is the best midfielder in the world, the best player in the Premier League. And all in all, I genuinely think it was men against boys, and it was just an example of how to play when you are champions and you know how to play like a champion. City are an unbelievable team. We're hitting stride at the perfect time. And yeah, Arsenal are very good, but I think ultimately we knew how this game was going to end.
Yeah.
It's not 4-1, but we knew how this game was going to end. And I am happy with the way it went. I'm sure Justin is not, and I'm sure Mitch and Josh don't particularly care. But I don't really get to talk my shit that much, so I'm doing that now. We're the best fucking team in England. We're going to win the Premier League, and I feel very confident in saying that now. Justin, as an Arsenal fan, how are you feeling almost immediately after the match? And are there any positives you can take away from what has been a great season? We can talk about Arsenal's season as a whole, too, with us coming to the end of the year now. But we'll start with your thoughts immediately after the game.
It went pretty much how most of us feared. It was probably going to go every time we go to the Etihad, it's pretty much the same result. We just end up letting De Bruyne score like the first 10 minutes, and then just kind of all goes downhill from there. I think Arteta kind of got it wrong today. I think he's pretty stubborn, I think, with the way he kind of sets up his teams. I was kind of hoping he'd be a little brave and switch it up, because for the last couple of games, as you can see, Rob Holding has not been it. And I love him. He's a good guy, good squad guy, coming off the bench 10 minutes, helps stay out of the game, head some balls out of the box. But everything that he does, Saliba does 10 times better. Like, I think Saliba's presence just in the back helps out Gabriel. I think helps out Partey. Just like that calmness in that 21-year-old just really like helps settles. And I think the last 4 games we've let in 11 goals. So you just see right there where the glaring issue is. I also didn't understand the tactic of just straight up be rushing Holland every time you guys kind of like punted it up to him. Like the very first goal, like Holding got bodied, and then De Bruyne just like ran through everybody. And then I think the third goal kind of the same thing. We're just like rushing up, and then just like that whole space was right there. So Don't really know what that was about. They didn't really come off the gates hot. At the Liverpool game, I think that was like one of our best like starts in the whole season. We just came out not afraid. I don't even know what we were thinking of just like kind of just letting you guys be on the ball because I think for the first goal we pressed and I don't know if it was Stones or Diaz, just like a lob that over everybody and you guys just hit us on the counter. Um, but besides that, like it is what it is. City are the best team in the world right now. Like them and Real Madrid, that's pretty much it. Um, and I feel really proud of the boys. Like second best team in the Prem. I mean, I'm sure as Josh and Mitch can talk about like competing against you guys, you have to be perfect, especially this time of year because you guys are just like automatic. Like I tried looking at the games of like, oh, maybe you guys will drop points here, and then it was just like, it's not happening. You just run through it like a machine. So it is what it is, and we go again.
Yeah, I think you have Newcastle away after this too.
Oh yeah, I think that's where it's mathematically going to end. I was talking to Pat before the game. Last year we bottled top 4 away at Newcastle, and then this year we're going to lose the league at Newcastle. So, bro,
Pat, is there a chance that you get to watch a trophy lift? What match week are you going to? Do you know?
Not this next week, but the week after.
Okay, so it probably wouldn't come to fruition just yet.
No, because we'll still have both games in hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is another big piece to the puzzle. I obviously just had my internet cut out, so coming back in, just want to reiterate a couple of my kind of views on the game before we move on to other topics. But I just having a player like Saliba not in the side today really showed. And I mentioned it to Justin. You have to give credit to Arsenal for the season they're having to be in this position.
Yeah.
And it is so like preseason talks, none of us thought it was going to be a City Arsenal title race. And I think this team's just going to keep getting better. There's a lot of new pieces in the side, a lot of veteran ads, and I think if they really work in the offseason, get a couple extra pieces, and march forward with a healthy side, it'll be a lot different.
Yeah, I think next year is going to be a little tricky just because seeing like you competing in the group stage of the Europa League is a little different than the Champions League. And also, this is the most Arsenal way ever of clinching top 4. Like we haven't been there since 2017 and getting battered by City. We end up getting on the same day. So I think that's kind of funny. I don't know. Arteta has to do better at rotating. I think Pep has done a really good job this season of like maintaining fitness. Like the only player that was out today for them was Ake, and even the players off the bench just coming, like they haven't missed a beat. Like if you take one player out of the Arsenal starting 11, it just kind of always falls apart. We kind of managed our way into a title race when Jesus got out. But I think that's one thing he definitely needs to improve on is like rotating and trusting the other players.
I think there's a lack of depth too.
That too, yeah.
So there's a lot of young talent you have to rely on, and like Nketiah isn't quite at the level that he can get consistent minutes week in, week out.
Mm-hmm.
But as he matures, I think you're gonna see a lot more trust in bringing on players in those off games or coming on earlier in games when they need that little boost.
And we're still like we're the second youngest team, and I think the youngest team is Southampton. So just like looking at the two differences where we are in the table is pretty telling on like how good this team can get. I just think they just need to keep working.
Yeah, I'll give my 2 cents. I think everyone knows. I'm kind of the Arsenal pessimist, I guess, if you will, all year. And it just kind of came to fruition. I think what a lot of people thought, I think people were probably 50-50 on it was Arsenal's year. Arsenal are going to bottle it. They did, and I think Pat has a pretty good point. They have had a good season. I'm not going to go out of my way and say it was unbelievable. I think it was a great step up from where they were. At the end of the day, though, and they could get, I think, 90 points maximum. So it's not an unbelievable season, in my opinion. It's a really good season. Not enough to compete with a team like City.
Oh, no.
And I think looking at next year, I think it's going to be even harder for them because you look at teams like Liverpool and Chelsea maybe can take a step up. Newcastle still hanging around, and maybe you'll get a surprise competitor too. But
yeah,
what's Pat laughing at?
I definitely
Chelsea might take a step
I know. I was
up.
trying not to say anything.
Well, I mean, you have to expect they'll get a manager. Someone will come in and be able to manage that team.
No, they're gonna get better. They're just so shit right now. It's hysterical.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you're totally right, and we'll get to Chelsea.
Well, but also we can segue into that because I think we've said our piece about City. The last thing I am going to say, and it's just a quick little rebuttal to you, Josh. I do actually think this is an unbelievable season from Arsenal, given their history in the league and how many points they're actually going to get. This Arsenal team is going to get more points than the fucking Invincibles. Just put that
we
in
know
perspective.
about the Invincibles, though. We know that
but
story.
They're going to get more points than the best Arsenal team ever. Like it's like last season for Liverpool was an unbelievable season. Yeah, I bantered you guys about it because I called you the Forgettables, but it was still an unbelievable season. This is an unbelievable season for Arsenal for what was expected of them, how well they did, and then they just like fucking stumbled into a title race. They didn't expect to be here. No one expected them to be here. They went on an adventure and wound up in a title race. And I think you're ignoring the fact that how low this Arsenal team's expectations were, where they were last season compared to now. I think it's an unbelievable season for them, all things considered. I'm giving them a lot of credit because I think they deserve it at the end of the day.
Football friends.
That's my 2 cents there. Now let's talk about how shit Chelsea are.
Yeah, I mean, I think 0-6, 0-7 maybe with Lampard at the
he
helm.
might be a 007 manager.
He's going to get the Spalini treatment. He's going to get the interim sack, which I think is a rarity we don't see often in the Prem. But it could happen twice in a week.
Yeah.
We just saw it at Tottenham, but we can talk about them after. This Chelsea team is horrible, man. They're abysmal. I mean, we're just talking about the games that happened today, but a 2-0 loss to Brentford kind of summed up with the first goal that went in being an Azpilicueta own goal off a corner. Ball whipped in, smacks him in the arm, and hits the back of the net. Chelsea does look lost, man. There's not one like positive takeaway I get from watching them play like week in, week out. There's not a single thing I think you can point at and say like that's a bright spot. They're just awful.
Yeah, we kind of expected it to with Lampard coming back, I would say. No one expected them to really kind of fly off the walls here, but I don't know. They're just playing with such a lack of confidence and direction, I guess. I don't know. I do think someone will come in and be able to make more of the talent they have. There's probably going to be an exodus in the summer, either with old players, Mason Mount, obviously linked with Liverpool, some other guys, but I think it's going to take a really special person to come in and make something totally new with basically a side of misfit toys that their owner has bought.
The rumor mill this morning said Pochettino.
Yeah, I saw that as
well. I've been seeing Poch. Fabrizio's been tweeting a lot about it, and Poch is a transformational guy. So I kind of like that.
Does Poch come in and clean house if he gets this job? Because as soon as Abba came, he's a player Justin kind of suffered through, and he's a player that doesn't benefit a locker room really anywhere he's been. You have an island of misfit toys, like Josh said. I just see this team needing to recoup at least some of the money they've spent. I don't see how they win with the people they're putting out on the pitch. Like, regardless of Frank being the manager, like Mudryk leading the team with 2 assists isn't going to help any causes. You have a spotty N'Golo Kante who's gone through numerous injuries and just can't find a bit of health, who is arguably their strongest player. I just don't see any positive thing to kind of grasp at with this Chelsea side right now.
They do have a few young kids. I'd like to see someone come in and try something new with them. You guys have to remember too, it's Lukaku season 3 next fall, so he's gonna come back to Chelsea after his loan. So who knows? Lukaku might come back and spend another year at Chelsea and bag 20. Who knows?
We shall see.
Another team though in London that's a mess right now, Tottenham, and I think the one that's the game like that stood out in my mind from the weekend. 6-1 away at Newcastle, 5-0 within 20 minutes, and Newcastle were just all over them. Scored some outrageous goals too. That Jacob Murphy one for the third was an absolute banger. I don't know if it definitely is a testament to how good Newcastle are. I think Alexander Isak was unbelievable on the day too, but Tottenham are in shambles. I mean, they're giving refunds to fans.
Yeah, they're bad. They're abysmal. They're gonna get piped at home by Man United tomorrow.
Yeah, I have that feeling as well. And this is another one. I just said it with Lampard, and it seems obvious, but none of us thought like Spallini taking over as interim manager would be good. Like he's Conte, but like not as smart. He plays the exact same style of football. And they're another one that has significant owner problems with Daniel Levy. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in the summer. And if Kane, I think Kane will leave.
I think he missed. I think he missed his boat on his trip out last year.
You think he'll stay at Tottenham?
No, I mean I just don't see. I don't see where else he goes, unless it's out of the Prem, which doesn't make sense for a player like Harry Kane. I
could see United.
I could see 100%. I could see him going to United
for Harry Kane.
He if they're willing to spend the money, I don't know. Tottenham's another one that's just like, what do you do with what's going on this year? Because it's such it's lackluster compared to what we've seen out of them, which isn't much.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think United's really going to be favored for him. I think it's between him or Osimhen, and Italian strikers don't always pan out, or strikers that come from Italy, I should say. So I think they'll probably favor an Englishman. But I guess we'll see how it goes. There's been some pretty cool movement, I would say, throughout the table too here, guys, as we just kind of like look down the Prem table. We'll talk about, I guess, Aston Villa for one. They're kind of keeping their good form up, and Liverpool right behind them. And me and Mitch can talk about today. Or go ahead, Pat.
I was going to say, Villa slide into fifth place, only a few points behind Man United. Liverpool, like you said, close behind them there. Played one less game than Villa too, so they could jump them into fifth. I know last time we talked, I said that, quote, no shot for Liverpool to get top four, but they could sneak in. It really depends on Newcastle and United's form to close the season out. You have played 2 more games than United and 1 more than Newcastle, so they have a couple games in hand as well to kind of make those points up in between. But you're only 6 points behind United in fourth, but they've, with 2 games in hand, obviously there's a little asterisk there. But I think it's going to be an interesting end of the season for you guys to maybe sneak into a European spot.
Yeah, 3 wins in a row. I think we're unbeaten 5 in the Prem. Jurgen has us playing some decent ball. I would say it hasn't been the most aesthetically pleasing thing, but Trent kind of navigating in the midfield a little bit more, I think, has been really enjoyable to watch. And I think we have 4 home games to finish out the last 6 games of the year, so I think that's pretty favorable. I think we go away to Southampton and away to Leicester, so 2 relegation sides are our only away trips, and then you have to favor us, I think, at Anfield. So it could be a fun one. Again, like Pat said, it's going to have to depend on how Newcastle and United finish out, which at the minute it's tough to see Newcastle dropping points, and United have 2 games in hand, so it's going to be tough.
It is. But I mean, I said it, I think last week or the week before. It's almost been one of those years where you kind of want to take a step back and really refocus. I don't know if I want to see Liverpool playing in Europe. Europa League would be, I guess, fine, but I would like to see a nice fresh Liverpool side and the more games you pack on, the more chance for injury, the more chance for tired legs come the end of the season when it matters most. And we're getting hot at the right time because we're getting the right players back from injury. It's allowing Trent to move into that midfield role. You have a huge depth of players up front. Jota has been great the last few weeks. Seeing Luis Diaz get 40 minutes today, 35 minutes was beautiful. And then Gakpo has been finding his form as of late as well. It's really allowed us to play a very different form of football than we've seen over the last 6-7 years, and I'm excited, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I'd like to just take this one game at a time, like it is a title race with City, and really refocus and get our legs underneath of us after a really shaky year.
Yeah, for sure. To add on to that list of players you mentioned too, Curtis Jones, I think, in the past couple of weeks has been really good.
Yeah.
So excited
Absolutely.
to see kind of where he goes. We've talked about kind of the bottom of the table too, guys, kind of throughout the run-in, and we have had some kind of movement here as Forest pull out with a surprise win against Brighton this afternoon. I don't think one anyone saw coming, probably. Obviously a tight loss to Liverpool this weekend too, so they're out of the relegation zone now. Leicester sit there at 29, Everton at 28, Southampton at 24. I just want your guys' take, with 5-6 games remaining for most of these teams. Do you think those are the three that go down, or do you think there's any movement from Leeds or Forest or even Bournemouth
So
down?
the bottom of the table right now is Leicester, Everton, Southampton.
Did I misspeak?
You said Leeds were in the relegation zone. They're not.
Got it. Yep. I'm looking at it right now. I just misread.
So Bournemouth got out, but I still just don't.
Forest
Leicester
are
just
tough.
have quality. Like, it's crazy to think that they could get relegated. I don't know.
Do you want to hear Everton's run-in? They have Newcastle at home, Leicester away, Brighton away, Manchester City at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home.
They might get relegated.
That's maybe 6 points tops. I think they could win against Leicester and Bournemouth. Wolves are playing decent right now. Man City's absolutely not. Newcastle's absolutely not. And Brighton's probably not.
Yeah, I don't see them getting that many points from those games now that you list off the fixtures. Shit.
It would be actually wild. Like, I think it would have to take up like a 10-minute segment on a podcast the week it happened if Everton actually go down. That is like absolutely huge.
Like we joked about it last year, but I mean, Everton sitting at a -22 right now in their goal differential. 2 losses and 3 draws in their last 5. They haven't found any sort of form whatsoever this year. I don't see Everton climbing out. I mean, I could still see Leeds falling down into that 3rd spot. Because they have Bournemouth, City, Newcastle, West Ham, Tottenham to finish out the year.
Yeah.
So, and Leeds haven't been playing the best football as of late either. So it's condensed from an 8-team race really to a 5-team race, and they've all played 32, 33 games. So it'll be interesting to see how this thing shakes out. It's like I'm more interested in the relegation battle right now.
Yeah, real relegation scrap at the end of the year. Nothing really beats it. It would be funny to watch Everton go down though, a little bit. I think they would have to sell their new stadium to the city of Liverpool, I think.
I hope they go down.
Yeah, I can imagine. I feel like Everton gets a point against Arsenal once in a while.
I hate going to Goodison so much.
It is a tough place to play.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would miss it. With
That's
that being said,
Burnley went down, but they're back.
Yeah, Burnley's back. They officially won the league. Also, boys, let's get some thoughts on this. Wrexham Wrexham getting promoted to the National League or the English League. Any thoughts on that?
I think it's dope. I think it's cool to see that the the owners, right? Rob and
Ryan
Reynolds.
Deadpool. Ryan.
Yes.
Thank you. They're Americans. They're not really seen as people that care about the soccer culture and things like that. But they've gone in, they made good investment, and you could clearly see in the video from the owner's box when Wrexham secured promotion that they cared, and like the emotion that they showed was really cool. I think it's dope. I think it shouldn't alienate people or clubs or anything like that with them growing the way that they've grown. I wish them all the best in the EFL, and I hope they continue to just fly on up, and we see them in the Prem in 4 or 5 years. That being said, and I don't know the fucking inner workings of non-league football, but I guess there's some shit about how they paid a bunch of their players more than everybody else could. So they're like the Man City of non-league or some shit.
Good on them. Honestly, like if owners are gonna come in and invest into the club, invest into the town, and do it the right way, like from day one, they've said they want to do it the right way. They want to expand the culture, and they've done just that. They've stuck to their guns. Mullen has been playing like a fucking madman.
He's awesome.
Bringing in a veteran keeper and having that 96-minute penalty save moment to really like shore up their spot, and then next week win the league and solidify their promotion is such a crazy story. Not as crazy as Gareth Bale coming out of retirement to play for Wrexham next year.
That's not confirmed.
I know it's not confirmed.
Mitch is turning the rumor mill.
I'm manifesting it. Like, I would love to see Gareth Bale go play for Wrexham, but that's beside the point. I think just they've done it for the genuine right reasons. They've invested a lot into the club, and it's paid off. And they're back in the EFL. Like, that's massive for a smaller big club like that.
Yeah, they could shoot up too. I think getting back into the English Football League was probably the hardest part, especially because one team only gets automatic promotion in the 5th tier. So that was pretty cool. It's also what an end to a career. Mitch could kind of mention it, but for Ben Foster, just getting promoted one last time, maybe having another year to him in between the sticks. My last thing for the episode, and I'll let you guys kind of say any final thoughts. Did you guys happen to see the Castellanos guy from New York City FC scoring 4 against Madrid last night?
I did not, but that's awesome.
Quite the story.
Bodes very well for City in the next couple of weeks here.
Pat's thinking about it. That is pretty wild for a guy who spent, half of his games playing at Yankee Stadium on, fake dirt.
Technically, Girona are CFG, right? They're City Football Group. So if we need someone that knows how to score against Madrid, could we just pick them up on a quick 2-game loan in a couple of weeks? Is that a thing we can do?
I think you guys are set. You don't need to bring anyone
else. We'll let them have Holland, and we'll take him for just 2 games.
That's all I had, boys. Do you guys have anything to wrap up today's episode?
The only other thing I wanted to say is I'm really excited to see Burnley in the league next year.
Yep.
They keeping the classic football shirts. That
would be iconic if they did.
With Vincent Kompany and his ball cap on the sideline.
We'd love to see that.
I mean, Burnley playing like Barca.
Do we have an eye on the second team that gets automatic promotion? Has someone secured that yet?
I think Sheffield United actually got it today.
Yeah, they secured it today.
Yeah.
Oh, Sheffield? Ugh. I don't know how I feel about
Pirates.
I know.
I like it because their 2 best players are both City loanees. Big fan of that.
Who are they?
Tommy Doyle and James
McAtee? Yeah.
Interesting. Ballers. McAtee has a place in this City team next year. Mark my words. He's going to be like Cole Palmer. But
I was going to say it's a name I've heard, definitely.
He's a baller. I like him.
Well, we'll stay tuned in the run-in. Pat, best of luck in England, my friend. Pat's gonna be gone the next couple weeks, venturing off to get some content for us and to enjoy his first, city game in person. But
oh yeah, you'll be seeing plenty of me in the Etihad Stadium for City Leeds in a weekish time. I fly out in 1 week and about an hour. My flight is at 7:15 next week. Me and Mitch are hauling down to Boston. Mitch is my chauffeur to get me on the plane next week.
Gotta get him on the big metal bird. Pat, any thoughts on your pregame pie? What you're going for?
I haven't thought. I'm just gonna kind of go for it day of.
Yeah, that's probably a wise choice.
play it out by ear.
And I'm gonna wander around Manchester the day after and try to run into Ruben Diaz so I can tell him I love him.
Just look up on Reddit like the cul-de-sacs all the players live in, and just
I know Gundo and Guardiola live in the same apartment complex, so if I find one, I find both.
I saw
Holland lives in an apartment complex not far from there with a like the most private sick rooftop pitch in London.
Oh,
So I've heard.
I'll use Google Maps to find all of the buildings in Manchester with rooftop soccer pitches.
Yep.
And just start knocking on doors.
I saw a photo the other day that 2 little kids knocked on Jurgen Klopp's door, and he actually came outside and took photos with them. So Pat might be in luck.
I'm not a little kid. I'm a 26-year-old man.
If you come bearing gifts, you never know.
Come bearing gifts and shave the mustache. You'll fit the part.
No. Well, I'll bring gifts. I won't shave my mustache.
For content.
Brand, you know?
Okay, boys, that's episode 35. Like, share, and subscribe to the thing. It's the run-in. We're in the meaty part of the season, so
thanks again to Justin for kicking it with us after a rough day as well.
Yes, thank you,
Justin.
Justin.
On him.
Anything for content.
Hey, football friends forever. Just
football friends forever.
All right. Peace.
Deuces.
Up the fucking Blues.